Welcome to KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today I will be demonstrating how to prepare this super easy keto version of my all-American slow cooker beef stew. This was one of my first recipes I adapted when I began my keto diet, and the original recipe was from my Land O'Lakes cookbook. The macronutrient ratio for this recipe is 2:1 with 8.3 grams of total carbs, 4.1 grams of dietary fiber, resulting in 4.2 grams of net carbs per serving. As with all of my recipes, this version has been adapted so that it meets all of my keto, sugar-free, grain-free, and especially nutrient-dense mandate. For your information, the carbs come from the vegetables, as does most of the fiber. To begin with, assemble and prepare all your ingredients. The second step to this recipe is to sear the meat. Just a quick reminder, heat your dry pan over medium heat before adding anything to it. Then add the bacon fat and swish it or brush it on all sides of the pan. Then when the grease is hot, place your chunks of meat into the pan to sear and crisp up and brown the outside of the meat. For this to occur properly, do not crowd the meat. If the meat is too crowded, you will have a lot of liquid from the meat and the meat will steam cook and not crisp up. So for best results, do this browning step in 2 batches. After the first side of the meat has been browned and formed a nice crispy skin, turn all the pieces until each side of the cube has been browned. Then scoop out with a slotted spoon and do the second batch. By the way, on high heat, this process will be very quick, so stay by the stove as you do the browning, because it will take only 30 to 60 seconds per side. Remember, you're not pre-cooking the meat. You are simply browning the meat to seal in all the juices. The culinary term for this browning process is called the Maillard reaction, which not only seals in the juices but also adds a great deal of additional flavor to your stew. To understand the Maillard reaction a bit better, you may want to read the article I wrote in my blog entitled Food Chemistry: How to Make a Great Beef Stew. If you're interested, I will provide a link to that article in my description below. When all the sides of the meat cubes have been browned, remove them from the pan and set them aside for a moment. Then reduce the heat from high to medium. To the pan that still may have some juices or oil, add your chopped onions for about 1 to 2 minutes. You just want the onions to get to the translucent stage, not browned. This will give the onions a much sweeter taste. And add the carrot medallions. At this point also add the chopped garlic. Cook for about 2 minutes, tossing once or twice. Remove the onions and carrots and set everything aside. At the bottom of the pan, you'll notice that there's a nice fond, or that brown crusty layer. An optional thing you can do is take a little bit, maybe half a cup of your beef broth, pour it into the pan, and over low heat, stir and cook and scrape the bottom to remove the fond, and then pour this into the slow cooker when you add your beef stock. This fond liquid will provide a bit of extra flavor. And then turn off your element. Take your fresh ripe tomato and just grate it with a box grater. I did this because it adds a lot of extra flavor and I can better control the carbs from tomatoes, and it's more efficient than using canned tomatoes. Now to the slow cooker. Add your butter and the brown meat cubes. Next add your pre-cooked onions and carrots. And to replace the potatoes that were part of the original recipe, here you can use either cubed jicama or cubed turnip. Both work really well in this stew and are great substitutes for potatoes. If you use the jicama, even after 8 hours in the slow cooker, they will still maintain a crisp, crunchy texture, while the turnip will soften like a potato. Most of the times I do a 50-50 split between the jicama and the turnip, and my family really likes it that way. Next, add your chopped raw celery, your freshly grated tomato, then pour in the beef broth. If you have some, use your own bone broth for added health benefit. Next, add the seasoning, the basil powder, the thyme powder, 1 bay leaf, which you can crumble, and add the Worcestershire sauce. Stir the ingredients and cover with the slow cooker lid. Set your timer on the slow cooker for 8 to 10 hours. When your stew is done, combine half a cup of water and the glucomannan and stir right away. You want the glucomannan to dissolve completely in the water. Pour this mixture into the stew broth and stir well to distribute the glucomannan mixture, which is a thickener that replaces cornstarch or flour. By adding your glucomannan and thickening up the stew at the end, you'll find that the result is a thicker, richer, browner, and clearer sauce, and not that murky or cloudy pale brown sauce that you sometimes get when you use flour. You'll also notice that even after this long cooking time, your meat is moist but did not fall apart as a result of cooking. The vegetables have not degraded into a mush and provide a wonderful texture and visually complement the color of the rich brown meat and your stew liquid. Now, once in a while, I just don't have the time to do the prep steps to brown the meat and saute the vegetables. Simply add all of the raw ingredients at the same time into the crock pot, add your liquid and seasoning, and then just stir and set the timer. The second method is really convenient if you want to throw everything into the crock pot first thing in the morning before leaving. Whether you're at university or coming home from work, this stew will be an aromatic welcome when you come home from your very busy day. Enjoy. Thank you for watching. I look forward to having you join me next time. Please share this recipe with a friend and send me your comments and suggestions. As always, the link for the printable recipe as well as the blog article will be provided in the description below.